Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Monday, June 15th, 2020 Upper Providence Board of Supervisors meeting. During this ongoing state of emergency, the Board of Supervisors has been in regular communication with Township staff, and it has been monitoring all the issues impacting residents. Because of the social distancing guidelines recommended by the Federal Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and the stay-at-home restrictions set forth by Governor Wolf, this Board of Supervisors meeting, like our meetings in April and May, will not be held at its normal physical location, but rather through this virtual medium forum. This virtual meeting was legally advertised and is being recorded this evening. It will be uploaded to our website in the same location as the other recorded Board of Supervisors meetings. I would like to thank all of you who have registered as attendees of our third virtual board meeting. As a virtual attendee, all of you will have the right to speak under public comment later in the meeting. You will see a raised hand symbol on your computer screen, which will alert our host that you wish to make a public statement. That time will be unmuted and will be allowed to speak for a maximum of 3 minutes. Consistent with our normal rules of procedure, there will be no question and answer period. However, if you do have a question on any particular item, we will make sure that the appropriate staff member gets back to you with an official response. This virtual forum is new to us, and we ask for everybody's patience. And as we've done in the last online meeting, instead of standing for the Pledge of Allegiance, we take a moment of silence to remember a number of things that have transpired over the past couple of weeks. The COVID situation has been hard on all of us as we have had to adjust our lives and separate ourselves from our normal daily activities. But I especially want to call out the victims of COVID-19 and the selflessness, devotion of our local heroes who are on the front lines fighting this invisible threat. I also wanted to touch on the racist tensions that have unfolded across our country after the George Floyd incident. And I hope that our leaders come together on a bipartisan basis to usher in meaningful reforms to address racial inequities. And of course, the recent storms resulting in prolonged power outages and damages throughout our township. I'm thankful for our excellent township staff, from police and fire to the public works crew to our administration, who have kept Upper Providence Township safe and accessible. And thanks to everyone for your support during these troubled times. Let's take a moment of silence. Okay, we'll start the meeting. All right, the first item on the agenda is the board agenda. Has everybody had an opportunity to take a look?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we approve the agenda for tonight's meeting, June 15th, 2020.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries. All right, we're now at the public comment phase of the agenda, where registered attendees may offer public comment. Please activate the raised hand feature in the toolbar, and the Township Manager, Tim, will unmute your microphone. And the same rules apply as I had stated. State your name, address, and please keep your comments to 3 minutes. Tim, do we have any speakers?
We do not have any raised hands. We do have one. David D'Angelo, and I'm going to unmute him right now. Mr. D'Angelo, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. You're on.
Okay, thanks so much. David D'Angelo, 764 Mennonite Road. Speaking tonight on behalf of myself and my parents, Ken and Susan D'Angelo of 748 Mennonite Road. And this is regarding the decision by the board at last month's meeting to essentially begin the eminent domain process to take my parents' portion of our combined property. Just a little background, the township wants to install approximately 800 feet of sewer line directly through the middle of our horse pasture. And this would be a sewer line that would serve 9 existing homes on Pleasant Lane, and the estimated cost would be about $600,000. Now, we were offered $30,000 in easement compensation, and we had to decline just due to the devastating impact this sewer line would have, not only on how we currently use our property, but also the impact it would have on our ability to develop the property in the future. And, you know, pertaining to that current use of the land, this line would impact our ability to fence in our horses as we see fit. It would limit our ability to get hay deliveries. It would destroy an existing corral that houses our chickens. And we'd also have to deal with multiple manhole covers right in the middle of the field. And looking beyond that, down the road, speaking with developers, if this goes through, we would lose 3 of the prime building lots in our field. Essentially, where this sewer is going to go, it's going to render a large portion of our land completely unusable. And obviously, that's going to have a terrible financial impact on our future. So I guess what's most frustrating for us as a family having to deal with all this is that there are other alternatives to give the residents on Pleasant Lane a sewer line. Now, this project's for 9 homes. Ours isn't one of them. My parents' home isn't one of them. We get 0 benefit from this, yet we're bearing all of the burden for this project now and in the future. So we would hope the board would consider an alternative route. We were told by the township that a force line would be much cheaper to install and would not require any impact on our land, but the township does not want the residents on Pleasant Lane to have to install grinder pumps, and we get that. But we do have neighbors on Fruit Farm Road who have grinder pumps, and they've had no issues at all. So there was also another route proposed for a gravity sewer line to go to a different point on Mennonite Road. It would run right along property lines and have far less impact on our land, but that was not discussed any further when one resident there on Mennonite said no. So overall, we just want to make the board aware of how much of an impact this is going to have on our family now and in the future. Utilizing eminent domain to take a resident's property when there are alternatives, that should not be taken lightly, and we really hope that the alternatives would be considered by the board. Thanks very much.
Thank you, David.
Madam Chair, I don't see any other raised hands. So I think just scrolling through the attendees list, I don't see anybody. So.
Okay. We'll move down to the next agenda item. The next item on the agenda is the executive session report. The board did not convene any executive session since its May 18th, 2020 regular meeting. So we'll go to the next slide. All right, the next item is our bill list, which includes the pay period from May 13th, 2020 through June 9th, 2020. Has everybody had the opportunity to look through it?
I'll make a motion, Madam Chair, that we pay the bill list from the period May 13th through June 9th, 2020 in the amount of $2 million or $2,096,338.71.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. All right, next item is the approval of one set of minutes for this evening from the May 18th, 2020 regular supervisor meeting. Has everybody had the opportunity to look those over?
Yeah. I'll make a motion to approve the May 18th, 2020 regular meeting minutes.
A second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed, motion carries. Okay, the next item is public hearing and old business. We have no public hearing, nor do we have any old business tonight, so we're going to go on to the next slide. Agenda item 3 is a resolution 2020-30 extending the COVID-19 emergency declaration through July 20th, 2020. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 2020-30, extending the COVID-19 emergency declaration through July 20, 2020.
I'll second a motion.
Okay. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. All right, agenda item 4 is resolution 2020-26 for the preliminary and final plan approval for the Twin on 4th. This project is located at 209 4th Avenue in the Montclair section of the township and involves the subdivision of a single lot into 3 smaller lots. The project has been affirmatively reviewed by the township's consultants and planning commission. Is there any questions or anything to discuss?
I have no questions. I was just wondering if whoever is doing this development, if they're present for this meeting, that's all.
We have several people in the attendance. I would ask if there's anybody who would like to speak to this, to please raise your hand. I see Joe Venezia has just raised his hand. So, Joe, do you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, you're on.
Okay. Yeah, we are, I believe our engineer is also on, Joe Estock, to answer any questions, but we have been through the whole process and have gotten approved on everything all the way through the process. So right here tonight, we're just asking for our preliminary and final approval to move forward with this project.
I have unmuted Joe Estock. If he's available, you can speak also.
This was
Yeah,
the slope property, right?
I'm sorry, say it again.
It had steep slope on the one side.
Yeah, I believe Mr. Estock, working with the engineer, we have solved all those questions and all the concerns that they had. So if you have any detailed questions, Mr. Estock probably can answer them for you.
I was just trying to recall. You've come before us before, so I wanted to make sure I had the right.
Yep. Yeah, we got all the approvals from everybody. And then the last plan that got through, we just had that final as well. And I believe Jeff can confirm, I believe Mr. Estock changed everything that was requested, and everything was confirmed on your guys' end, I believe. Jeff?
Yeah, if I may jump in, this is one of the developments that was in process, and we sort of shut everything down, and we've had them go through and clean up their preliminary plan so that the preliminary plan and the final plan can be all sort of done at the same time. Right now, all of the consultants have clean letters on this development. I don't know what sort of outstanding outside approvals they need, but I think if they don't have something, that they're pretty close on it. There's not a lot of outside approvals for this development to begin with. So from they've gone through the process and kept everything, they've cleaned everything up. So the plans are as clean as they could possibly be.
So they did not request any waivers, I assume.
We did.
Yeah, there are waivers included in the preliminary plan approval. I think they're listed within the resolution.
Oh, okay.
I was actually down here having a look at this property yesterday. The twins that you're going to build on this property, they're going to look pretty much identical to the ones next door that are already there.
Correct.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I have none.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we adopt resolution 20-26 for the twins on 4th Avenue, MJ Properties preliminary and final plan approval.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, agenda item number 5 is resolution 2020-09 for the final land approval for Providence Business Park, 3's HB Frazer Company project located on the western side of Hollow Road in Upper Providence Township. The project has been affirmatively reviewed by the township's consultants and planning commission. Do you have any questions or want to discuss anything on this one?
I do have Ed Mullen on. I've unmuted you, Ed.
Yeah, I'm here, and you've seen this before, tentative and preliminary. It's 9-acre tract with a 30,000 square foot warehouse and office. And we're very happy with the resolution that your solicitor prepared, and we'll answer any questions you might have.
Yeah, I have a question. You there? I've got a question. Or two people talking?
No, I think there's an echo.
All right, am I missing an impact fee on this property? A traffic impact fee?
Is that
We would be responsible for an impact fee.
Okay.
I think Joe Gambone should be on here. Tim, is Joe Gambone here?
Let me see here. I do see Joe. Sorry about that.
Can you-
I saw your hand up. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm here. Ed, you might be able to answer this, and maybe Jeff, you do. I think this is this application has been in for so long. I think the impact fee was not in effect at the time we started this process. Ted Cochin is also on the line, and so is Tom Ludgate. They may be able to answer that, but I think that's the case on this particular one.
Well, I think the answer to Al's question is that if there should be an impact fee, would be willing to pay the impact fee. If in fact this was filed before it, then we're not obligated to.
Okay, and that may be the case. That was the one question I had.
But we will commit, Al, right now to say that if there's an impact fee due under the ordinance, we'll pay it. But we think that it was prior to the imposition of the impact fee.
Okay.
Did we have Jeff look that up, right?
Yeah, I'll take a look at that tomorrow first thing when I can log back into the township server, and I'll verify when they first applied and how it corresponds to that date.
I'm fine with that.
That's a good catch though, Al. Any other questions? Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we adopt resolution 2020-09 for Providence Business Park / HB Frazer final plan approval.
I'll second it.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Okay, agenda item 6 is resolution 24-27 for the final land development filed by Rouse Chamberlin for the development of phase 2B of Ridgewood 2 project located at 304 Linfield Trappe Road in Upper Providence. Project has been affirmatively reviewed by the township's consultants. Do you want to talk through anything on this?
Yeah, my own. Let me just mention, this is phase 2B, which is 58 units. We have already previously gotten approval for phases 2A, 2B, and 2C with the understanding that as we went into a phase, we'd do the detailed engineering, which has been done, which has been approved by all of your consultants. And again, first of all, Greg Graham may want to say something. He should be on.
Greg
But,
Graham,
we have.
Yeah, no, you're doing fine, Ed.
Okay, then. And basically, we're satisfied with the resolution that Mr. Breslin prepared, and then this one is definitely before the traffic impact fee. but it has its own impact fee of $1,600 per unit, which was negotiated back with Phase 2A.
And this goes to the intersection, the impact fee goes to the intersection. Okay, Linfield, Chatham Township.
Yes, we've agreed to contribute over the phases just under $300,000 towards that intersection.
Okay. And there's 4,000 times 50, it's 232,000 for the open space recreation fee. When does that come to us?
That typically gets paid each time there's a building permit issued. All right, I guess, Jeff, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And what's the time frame to get? What's the time frame to get this phase?
We're trying to start right away.
And what's the completion for this section?
I guess tell me how many houses I could sell out quickly. You know, with COVID, we don't know, but we've been. Greg, what has your sales per month been on Phase 2A?
We're running about 2 a month.
Okay.
So that'll be it.
Okay, that's fine. That's a good. You know.
Okay, any other questions? Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to adopt resolution 2020-27 for the Rouse Chamberlin Ridgewood Development Phase 2B final plan approval. This is just so you guys know, this thing's been around forever.
Yeah. It's nice to see it move forward, actually. Do I have a second?
I'll second. I'm sorry. I'm muted.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. And Tim, if we could put everybody else on mute, maybe that'll help with the sound a little
Been
bit.
trying to, when people aren't speaking, putting them on mute.
Okay.
Go ahead, Helene.
Alrighty, agenda item 7 is resolution 2020-28 for the preliminary subdivision approval files by Reynolds Acquisitions for a 14-lot subdivision on an 18-acre parcel at 116 Hess Road. This plan has been previously received a conditional use from the board and a tentative plan approval. The current plan shows 14 single-family detached homes on a cul-de-sac with 6+ acres of open space. This is the Barker Trappe.
Yeah, and I think Ed Mullen has this one also.
That's true, but Helene, you just stole my thunder. You said everything I was going to say. The fact is, said you've seen it before a number of times, and it's just a flex lotting option, which provides for a lot of open space. And we have a cul-de-sac that goes through to touch the adjoining property, just in case that property ever develops, so that you have continuity of the road system. So, I mean, and again, we're satisfied with the resolution that Joe Breslin prepared.
I see this is just for preliminary plan approval. So you'll be back one more time for final?
That's correct, Bill. We will be. Yep.
I have a question. I thought we were not taking stormwater management facilities as open space. Is there, are we granting this waiver? There are several waivers there. Jeff, can you help me out on that?
Yes. Typically, historically, we've allowed stormwater in open space but that means that the township wouldn't be accepting dedication of that open space.
And we can work it out either way, John, if you want. We can have the open space and the basins maintained by the homeowners association, or we could dedicate the open space to the township with the understanding and agreement that the homeowners association would maintain all the stormwater facilities.
But I was under the impression that we didn't take that as open space, Ed. Sorry.
Yeah, would go either way.
Okay.
John, what's the benefit if we have to maintain it? Something new? Is it township or?
Are you talking to me, Helene? Because I'm having a hard time hearing everybody.
Yeah, I am. I'm just saying, what was your point there? Were you thinking that we should maintain it as open space?
No, my point is they're using that as a calculation for their open space, and we never took. To the best of my knowledge, lately we haven't been taking stormwater management facilities as open space. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong.
Jeff?
All I know is that all your consultants have agreed to the plan and the proposal. So I'm not sure what the concern is, but I think,
John,
we're going to have a homeowners association that'll handle it. Jeff, go ahead.
John, typically when we typically we do allow a developer to put it in open space with the understanding is that the township will never take dedication of that open space. Not that I think there's any impetus by the township to take this open space either. We assume that when they do that, the HOA is in complete control of it. But there's always the understanding that if stormwater fails, the township has the right to go in, fix it, and then lien the property as needed. I mean, that's in the developer's agreement and the stormwater agreement.
Bill, I unmuted you. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, just what Jeff said, John, it wasn't anticipated that the township would accept this dedication of this open space. The goal of this particular open space was to preserve the environmental features on the project site and therefore to allow the clustering of the homes, on the smaller lots. But there would be no intention of the township accepting the dedication of the open space. Like you say, we don't take open space when there's no stormwater management at open space.
And also, as Jeff said, we're going to be signing an M&O agreement, O&M agreement that indicates that we're responsible to maintain it, or the township can do it and then lien the property.
Okay, I'm not hearing anybody out there real clearly, but I was under the impression that we didn't use that for the calculation of how much open space you're contributing. That's all. Who takes care of it is not an issue. Hello, is anybody out there?
It's not great sound tonight. Why?
Yeah, somebody has two, I'll tell you what's happening. Somebody has two devices on and it's feeding back one to the other. Somebody's using a phone and a PC. So you've got to mute, one or the other. Anyway.
I've muted everybody I can mute, so I think
I got it.
solutions on everybody's end.
Yeah, you can't have your cell phone be on echo, and then go on mute if you're not speaking. That helps. Hopefully that's better, John. It was hard to hear, it's for sure.
Yeah.
I have Ed and Bill with their hands up, so if there's
John,
any.
we'll fight with them about the open space calculation when they come for final, but I'm ready to make a motion on this one.
Are you all right with that, John?
You all right, John?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. I'm going to make a motion that we adopt resolution 2020-28 for Barker/WB Homes subdivision preliminary plan approval.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries. All right, the next two items on the agenda, items 8 and 9, are the scheduling of additional youth hearings. And before the board acts on these items, we need to agree on a date to hold these hearings separate from our regular meeting. Historically reserved the first Monday of every month for special workshops or hearings as needed. Do the board members have a problem with Monday, August 1st to hold these hearings? So are you guys okay with adding in an extra meeting on August 3rd to have a special workshop on these hearings? Is everybody okay with that?
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Okay. So after agreeing, oh, go ahead, Laurie. All right, so August 3rd, the agenda item 8 is for conditional use hearing for 357 Greenwood Avenue. So now that we know we're going to meet August 3rd, do I still carry a motion on this thing? Even though we're just carrying a motion to have the hearing, is that true?
That's correct. I think we probably just need a motion setting the date, and then we'll put the date in.
And permission to advertise is part of the motion.
Okay, so it's a date and permission to advertise for the hearing. So someone pass a motion for that, August 3rd. Okay, so the proposed motion would be to authorize August 3rd and advertise for the conditional use hearing of 357 Greenwood Avenue.
I'll make a motion that we advertise for conditional use hearing for 357 Greenwood Ave on the date that you mentioned.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Okay, agenda item 9 is for conditional use hearing for Tesca Dance Studio. And that will be on the same date, August 3rd.
That's correct. We just need the same motion for that, but a different item.
Yeah, same motion. It just authorize the scheduling August 3rd and advertisement of conditional use hearing for Tesca Dance Studio.
All right. I'll make a motion to advertise for a conditional use hearing for Testa Dance on August 3rd.
And advertisement. Yep.
Second.
Okay. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Okay. The next 3 agenda items are directly related to the Township line Linfield Trappe Road intersection project. Agenda item 10 is resolution 2020-22, which amends the capital budget to fund the intersection and traffic signal improvements at the Township line Trappe Road intersection. The Township manager has asked that this resolution be tabled until the next meeting. Tim, can you fill us in on that?
Yeah, the original resolution had assumed that we were going to have some monies from the Green Light Go grant and also some contributions from Limerick Township. And what we have found out, as you know, the Green Light Go grant was at the 11th hour was rescinded by the state. As you know, I've been working with the legislators behind the scenes to try to get that money restored. But that kind of puts this whole project in limbo. I have reached out to Limerick Township. As you know, Helene, you wrote a letter to the supervisors there, which generated a positive response. I expect the Limerick supervisors to act tomorrow night to authorize some additional funds. But until we get the gray clouds cleared up on the funding formula, we're going to ask that this be tabled until we can get some clarity on the distribution of the funds. We don't want this to hold up the project from moving forward. And I meant to unmute Casey Moore in case he has anything he wants to add to that. Casey, you've been unmuted on that.
All right, thank you, Tim.
Thanks.
Yeah, I don't have much to add. I think everyone's in the loop on the situation, and it's good to know that Limerick may add some contribution to reduce the gap caused by the loss of the Green Light Go grant funding. So I assume that the desire is to table it then to the meeting in July.
Do we have enough time? We received bids. What's the time frame to award the bid?
No, we're recommending that you award the bid tonight. We'll have we don't want the funding uncertainty to hold up the awarding of the bid. That wasn't our intention to delay the bid. That's actually the next item. This is just,
Okay.
We had the funding resolution in place. We're just looking for the tabling of this funding resolution.
Okay.
We'll have a more definitive numbers that will ratify the capital budget amendment at the next.
Okay.
We have sufficient funds to move forward with this. How it's actually allocated and whether we're successful in getting the grant restored. We don't know yet until after tomorrow night's meeting what Limerick's contribution will be. I think it's going to be a generous contribution, but I'm not prepared tonight to like dot an I, cross a T on that. So we're prepared to recommend that we move forward on that. That's not this particular motion.
Okay, very good.
For the tabling of this resolution.
All right, motion would be to table resolution 2020-22.
Yeah, I'll make that motion to table resolution 2020-22, amending the capital budget to fund intersection and traffic signal improvements at Township Line Road and Linfield Trappe Road.
I'll second that.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item number 11 is for the consideration of a bid award for the Township Line Linfield Trappe intersection. All right, I'm going to ask Casey to summarize the bids.
Absolutely. McMahon Associates put out a bid package for the intersection, and the bids were opened May 5th, 2020. There were 5 bidders for the project. They ranged from $950,000 roughly to $1.1 million. And the low bidder was Barwis Construction, and we've worked with this firm before on projects successfully and find them to be qualified to do the project. So therefore, it's our recommendation that they, as the lowest responsible bidder, be awarded the project for Township Line Road and Linfield Trappe Road.
Okay, thanks, Casey. Do I have a motion to award the bid?
I'll make a motion to award the bid for intersection and traffic signal improvements at Township Line Road and Linfield Trappe Road to Barwis Construction LLC from Birdsboro, Pennsylvania, in the amount of $950,379.17.
Second motion.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right. Agenda item number 12 is for the consideration of a professional services agreement with our township engineer, McMahon Associates, to provide construction administration services for the Township Line Linfield Trappe Road intersection project. Is there any questions on this? If not, do I have a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to to award the engineering, where is it? The execution for services. Which one is it? Number 12 we are on?
Number 12, Bill.
Okay. Yeah, I'll make a motion to award to McMahon the overseeing of the construction for the Township line and Trappe Road project in an amount not to exceed $86,300.
I'll second that.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.
Okay, agenda item 13 is resolution 2020-29 for the approval of the Providence Town Center Sewage Facilities Planning Module. Mr. Digman, can you give us an update?
Yes, this is for the apartments and the hotel behind Providence Town Center. Because of the magnitude of the size of the number of units and the capacity of the existing lines, a full sewage facilities planning module in accordance with Act 57, 537 is required. And this resolution that the board needs to adopt is to submit this resolution down to DEP for their review and blessing. So you're passing a resolution to send the module down for them for DEP to approve it.
And how many EDUs is this?
My recollection is it's whatever the number of apartments is plus the hotel, I think had another 20 or so, John.
Is that 586 for the apartments, I think?
Something like that, yes.
I forget the number.
185 apartments, 110 rooms in the hotel.
110, okay.
And for something like this, Jeff, how does it get paid, this module? If such a large facility is getting put in, does it cover the cost of that?
I would defer to Bill for that question, for that answer.
I think historically it's as the phases get approved. In this case, I think they're looking for one large apartment building early on. So I would assume it would be recorded and paid in phases with the appropriate recording, sort of like Ridgewood.
Okay.
Yeah, and if you recall, they make a contribution per unit for the township as well. But outside of that, I think it's a public safety contribution, and that gets paid as each unit's developed as well.
And this has the impact fee as well.
Yeah.
No, this came in before the traffic impact fee. Oh, I'm sorry. No, I'm fairly sure this qualifies under the $1,000 traffic impact fee, not the full traffic impact fee.
Correct.
Because we phased it in, right, Jeff? Or I think we put
they put their application in while we were still developing the plan, which sets the minimum fee at $1,000 per trip automatically.
Okay. All right, if there's no other questions, do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 2020-29 for approval of the residences at Providence Town Center Sewage Facilities Planning Module.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right, let's see here. This concludes the new business portion of our meeting. I'd like to move now to the manager and department head reports.
Madam Chair, all of you should have received my manager highlights report along with the agenda material over the weekend. I won't regurgitate it, but I just want to go over some highlights. One of them, I wanted to, I think all of you knew this from a couple of weeks ago, but we did officially get the $100,000 Montco 2040 grant. This is part of the RiverCrest Trail Connector project. I've gotten some follow-up information from the county, so we're in the process of executing that grant agreement. I want to thank staff and Bill Dingman's office for helping us put together a successful project. So this will actually start connecting some of our trails to nowhere to actually having some connections that will be of use to some of our neighborhoods. It'll eventually get us down to the Schuylkill River Trail, and we're actually working on some other connections for some future grants. So, Bill, is there anything you'd like to add on this? I think it's about 3,000 linear feet of trail.
Correct, Tim. It's just over 3,000 linear feet. A couple of things are special with this. It's a fairly steep slope there, so we got to be conscious of that as we go through the design. And there's a significant drop off on the creek side there too. So there'll be some safety fencing that we'll be putting in with this trail installation also. I think Al's either walked it or rode his bike down there. I guess walked it, I think, one day, and he understands how steep this one is.
Oh, yeah. Bill, what do you think? How long do you think it'll take to engineer this before we can start building that? You think?
Survey is complete. I would think we could be out the bid within a couple of months at the most, that type of thing. So we certainly should have bids in the fall.
Awesome. Great.
So Bill, how much is the total cost for that?
My recollection, Tim, I forget the grant, I think it was around $250,000 if my recollection's right on this one.
Okay.
About right. There's some additional items I wanted to bring to the board's attention. The board's already aware of this, but this is more for the public's benefit. As you know, we're finally out of the red phase, and we've just entered the yellow phase through the county. And as of Friday, June 5th, we've distributed temporary applications to our local restaurants. So we're trying to work with our local restaurants to help them get some more business. We anticipate by Monday, June 22nd, the administration building will be open, and we'll be going into the green phase on Friday, June 19th. We're working, as of Friday night, we removed all the barrier tapes around all the playground equipment, tennis courts. So all of our active recreation venues are open. We are coordinating the replacement of signs to remind residents to follow CDC guidelines. And so I've been out, did some scoping, and I've seen our tennis courts and our skate parks and our basketball courts being used. So it was a beautiful weekend. I was glad that we were able to do that. We are looking at, for our July board meeting, we are exploring convening the meeting as a group at least in the main auditorium. And we're working, if we're in the green phase, we're going to working with our technical consultants to see how we can stream that. It'll still predominantly be a virtual component, but we're slowly trying to get back to some sense of normalcy. We are still restricting any organized events and no tournaments. And we've already announced that our day camp has been canceled, but we are looking at doing some virtual programming and maybe some creative ways where we can still involve the residents in some of our programs. One other item I wanted to bring to your attention, I did put in my report that we are looking at refinancing the township's debt. One thing that this COVID-19 crisis has brought is a lot of liquidity into the municipal debt market. So we're finding debt rates have been at historic lows. And I think it's good timing for us to refinance our existing debt and consider some new money issues. We're looking at possibly bond rates of 200 basis points less than what we currently have. So I think it's a no-brainer. Our financial advisors working with our bond counsel to try to get some documents ready for action in August. What I'd like to bring the board's attention to, I think we should have a healthy discussion on what types of capital projects, as far as new money projects, we might want to incorporate into this new money issue. And in that regard, I would like to, I know that we've already identified August the Monday in August for conditional use hearings. I'd like to try to see if we could have some special meeting just devoted to capital budget discussions sometime in July. I'm looking at our calendar. I know that July is oftentimes a vacation month for a lot of people, but I was checking to see if July 6th, that's our first Monday in July, would be a good opportunity to have a discussion on capital budget. And also, I was speaking to Brian today. I think the fire design committee will have their I's dotted, T's crossed, so we can start talking some realistic dollars on the cost of the new firehouse. So I'd like to try to have like a capital budget night, if we could, to start in anticipation of our bond refinancing in August. So, Madam Chair, just looking to see if there's everyone's would be available. The first Monday in July is July 6th, but we really could be at any time that month, depending on what people's schedules are.
I'm totally okay with me. I think there's a tremendous opportunity for us to utilize debt to acquire and achieve some goals that we have identified, and it would be good to talk about that at a meeting sometime in July.
Yeah, the 6th works, just would have to be later in the day. If it's
Well, it would probably be a night. It'd be a night meeting, but I'm hoping we'll be able to have this in the big room at least for some discussions. But I'd like to stay away from the 4th. July 6th is that first week after the 4th holiday. So I was thinking that would be a good time for most people. But
Yep.
That'd be fine with me.
very good. I'll work with Cheryl and we'll get that advertised. We were planning on discussing just try to make it a capital budget night. So.
Okay.
Okay, Madam Chair, that's all I have, unless the board has any other questions on my report that I submitted.
I do. I don't know where to stick this in, but there was some things coming across my desk here after we talked about the HB Frazer. That there is a $42,000 traffic impact fee for that. So I don't know where this could slide in, because it was discussed earlier in the meeting.
That wasn't in the manager's report. Are you talking about?
No. I don't know where to stick this, but we had talked with Mr. Mullen about the HB Frazer project earlier, whether there was a traffic impact fee. And I know Madam Chairman's busy, but emails are popping through here that there is a $42,000 impact fee. Just so.
Thanks, Al.
Yeah, just for the record, McMahon's letter in March noted it, and when I emailed it out a couple minutes ago, Gambone concurred. They wrote back and concurred with it, so that they understand that that's part of the approval.
Sorry to, but I didn't know where to put it.
It's like we got our money, we got our impact fees.
We get our money, yeah.
Anything else in those manager highlights? There's a lot on there. I don't know if everybody had the chance to look through them.
I think I told you our Eagle Scout is wanting to put in we may try to have some type of mini ceremony on the 4th. That's our Veterans Monument that's he's been working. This was supposed to be installed around Memorial Day, but because of the pandemic, it's been delayed. And, we're working, Helene, you had some questions on the Jacob Street alignment project. That's moving forward. There is some traction on that. And the Central Emergency Services Building update, like I said, this is about at 60% design phase. So, and that's right at the point where we can start talking realistic budget numbers and budget parameters. So I think it would fit nicely for our July workshop.
I thought it was interesting. I did talk to Tim today about the Dr. Rifkin and the Park House track. Hopefully there's some positive movement there. I mean, he sounds like he's interested in setting some of the land aside, which would be great. So I don't want to jinx anything. We're at the beginning stages of everything, but
we'll keep you in the loop on that.
Yeah.
We'll probably do for a park master plan update soon. So we'll brief the board on that. I don't know, Jeff, you're on. Is there any update? I think you guys are having some type of stakeholders meeting on Wednesday for the active transportation plan.
Yes, McMahon's going to be running a stakeholders meeting in conjunction with some outside stakeholders and on the active transportation. So everybody's welcome to join. The Zoom credentials, I think, will go up if they're not up already, and we'll see what we can find out virtually.
And Jeff, I'm sorry, could you recap? That was with McMahon, and that's
It's for the complete streets plan that we're developing, which is a combination trail. You know, I can let Anthony and Casey talk to it more specifically, but it's a complete streets plan that they've been working on for about 4 or 5 months now. And there's some stakeholders with a comprehensive plan subcommittee, SEPTA, some of the neighbors. It's an overall project to make sure that trails, the work we've done with trails and connections continues and continues in a logical manner. We received a grant last year for it, and we're working through that grant right now.
okay.
Very good. That's my report, unless there are any other questions, Helene.
Well, that's something I did want to shout out to Joe Webster for helping us. I'm trying to find it in your report here, Tim, about how Joe Webster has helped us close some loops, 2 different areas.
I know he's been helpful with us on the SAFER grant. He's reached out to Madeline Bean and the federal congressman as far as the SAFER grant. And he's also, we had to do a quick turnaround on this, but the RACP grant for possible infrastructure funding for the firehouse. So he's been a very go-to person as far as whenever there's any type of grants or any issues, he reaches out to it. And as do all of our representatives. I mean, he's good, but so is Melissa and Senator Muth. So, and Limerick's been working with their reps on the whole Green Light Go grant. We're trying to do a full court press with our legislators to try to get PennDOT to reconsider that denial.
Okay, thanks, Tim. Agenda number 15 is consultant reports. We have Bill, Casey, and Jeff. If you guys have any more information to give us.
Just briefly, you have the written report, but the planning module is out for advertisement for the Tindy Run project. And the paving projects are, Alan Myers is looking to finish up by July 7th. It's a little tentative. They haven't firmed up that schedule 100%, but they're shooting for July 7th completion on their paving part. And Delaware Valley Paving is looking to start on July 1, and they have a 90-day contract duration to complete their job. Surveyors will be out next week doing the Ashenfelter Troutman Road Trail connection. That concludes my report.
Okay. Jeff or Casey, anything additional?
I have nothing additional.
Yeah, Helene, I'll just mention real briefly, I mentioned it last month that we are still on track for the Route 29 adaptive signal project with GSK and PennDOT. Things are looking like they'll be in place again late July, early August for that system to be operational.
Okay. All right, if not, if we don't have anything else, I'll move on to Joe, our solicitor. Whoop.
Sorry about that, Joe. I think I may have muted him. Joe, are you on?
Yes, I'm here. I've been listening along proudly as you work through all the resolutions.
Okay.
Nothing else. Just to mention that when you have those approval resolutions, like with the traffic fee, it's in the review letter, and then in turn, the resolution says that they have to comply with the terms of the letter. So you're already locked down on that. Other than that, I have nothing new or additional.
Okay, our last item tonight is to review upcoming events.
Yeah, actually have supervisors' comments if there's any items for the board.
Any comments, any books, Laurie?
Well, there is one I'm listening to right now, and that is H for Hawk by Helen McDonald. It's It's a story about training a goshawk, but it's also a memoir for her. And I just wanted to shout out to everybody out there who's doing, a good job of trying to deal with this COVID thing. I've been to Lowe's over the weekend and everybody was wearing a mask, except the one guy whose mask only covered his chin, not his nose and mouth, but everybody else was complying. So it looks good.
Yeah, and I would like to say too, is that as we open back up, I want to encourage residents to shop locally. A lot of our stores in Providence Town Center and some of our smaller businesses, we've gotten used to getting everything delivered to the door, but these folks could really use you to get out there when you're comfortable and spend a little money with our local merchants. Appreciate it.
Anybody else? Okay, upcoming events. Board of Supervisors meeting schedule is July 20th, 2020 at 7 p.m. and August 17th, both at 7 p.m. for Board of Supervisors. Planning Commission meeting is June 24th, 2020 at 7 p.m. Agenda items are John Paul Stadium. July 8th, 2020 at 7 p.m. Agenda items is 172 Hotwood Road, which is Silver Rhino, 124 which is also Silver Rhino. We have Park and Rec Committee meeting, June 17th, 2020, and that's at 6 p.m. Comprehensive Planning Subcommittee meeting is June 17th, 2020. That is at 7 p.m. We have Municipal Authority meeting. That's August 6th, 2020 at 7 p.m. And that is it. This brings us to the end of the meeting. And do I have a motion for adjournment?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Thanks everyone for attending.